Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're really getting into something fundamental. We're looking at agriculture in Nepal.
Yeah, it's absolutely
I
crucial.
mean, the numbers are quite staggering, aren't they? It's something like, what, 25% of the national GDP?
Exactly. And perhaps even more striking, it employs well over 60% of the population. It's truly the backbone of the
It
country.
really is a huge part of the picture. So let's try and unpack that a bit.
Well, what's so interesting, I think, is this contrast you see. Despite being so vital, so much of it is still, traditional subsistence farming.
Meaning families mostly just grow food for themselves.
Pretty much, yeah. Often on very small plots of land, sometimes fragmented, passed down through generations. So, our mission today is really to understand this sector, its geography, the hurdles, and maybe most importantly, the potential that's there.
Okay. And that geography is key, isn't it? Nepal isn't just mountains. It's got these distinct agricultural zones.
Absolutely. You basically got three main areas. There's the Tarai Plains down south, which are really fertile.
Right, the lowlands.
Then you move up into the hills, and finally the mountain regions. And each one, because of the climate and altitude, supports different kinds of farming.
So what does that actually look like? What are they growing where?
Well, down in the Terai, that's where you see the big staples. Lots of rice, maize, wheat, plus important cash crops like sugarcane.
Mm-hmm.
Then as you go higher into the hills, you still get maize and millet, but you also see a real focus on fruits, apples, mangoes, citrus fruits, and lots of vegetables, often supplying the cities.
Ah, high-value crops.
Exactly. And things like tea and coffee, especially in those mid-hills,
Yeah.
even cardamom up higher. And we can't forget livestock. Cattle, buffaloes, goats, poultry. That's huge for rural income and just, food on the table, particularly in remote areas.
Right. So it's diverse, it's vital, but it's not without its problems, is it? What are the big challenges they're facing?
Oh, definitely. There are some serious hurdles.
I mean, things like low productivity seem to come up a lot.
And
And land issue these small, fragmented plots. That must make things difficult.
it really does. It's hard to be efficient or use modern machinery on tiny, scattered pieces of land. And then there's water.
Irrigation, yeah, I saw a figure, something like only 40% coverage,
Less than 40%, yeah. So most farmers are completely reliant on the monsoon rains, which are getting less predictable.
which ties into climate change, I suppose.
Absolutely. Shifting rains, extreme weather, it hits agriculture hard. Plus, just getting produce to market can be tough. Poor roads, lack of storage. Farmers don't always get a fair price.
So quite a list of obstacles. What's being done then? Are there efforts to tackle these?
Yes, definitely. The government, through the Ministry of Agriculture and research bodies like an RRC, the Nepal Agricultural Research Council, they're actively working on this.
How so?
Well, they're promoting modernization, better seeds, techniques. They're investing in expanding irrigation, which is critical. And they're trying to encourage agro-based industries. Processing plants for fruit or coffee, adding value within Nepal. And a big push now is on climate-resilient farming, drought-resistant varieties, that sort of thing.
That sounds like a sensible approach, tackling it from multiple angles.
hmm
Are there any, newer trends emerging that seem promising?
Yeah, a couple of things are really interesting. One is the growth in organic farming. There's a good market for that, and it suits Nepal's environment in many ways.
Mm.
And crucially, there's a real effort to get young people involved, trying to change the perception of farming, bringing in digital tools.
Digital tools, like
Yep.
apps and things.
Exactly. Apps for market prices, weather forecasts, maybe even e-commerce platforms for farmers to sell directly. It's about making agriculture a viable, even attractive option for the next generation.
So if you pull all that together, the potential seems pretty significant, despite the challenges.
I think so, yes. With the right investment, continued innovation. Maybe even leveraging things like agritourism or niche exports like herbs. There's a strong path towards, sustainable growth and definitely towards better food security for the country.
Okay, so the big takeaway here is that Nepal's agriculture, while facing some really ingrained difficulties, isn't static. There's real energy behind modernization and finding new paths forward.
Precisely. And maybe a final thought for you, our listener. Think about how Nepal's experience here blending tradition with these new approaches might actually offer some valuable lessons. Could it be a kind of model for other developing countries facing similar agricultural challenges in our, very rapidly changing world? It's definitely something worth considering.